Okay, let's move on to 10.4, and we're going to be dealing with special projects in this one. We're coming up about the halfway point, a little bit more than the halfway point through Module 10, so a test will happen right after these four lessons. First thing, vocabulary. So square of a sum. So we have 3 plus 2 quantity squared. I'm just kind of showing you some of the rules and why they work a certain way and why you can't sometimes take shortcuts. So we did this already. So we have 3 plus 2 squared, which is 3 plus 2 times 3 plus 2. If I FOIL it, I get 9 plus 6, and then plus 6 plus 4. So you can see how I'm multiplying 3 times 3, 3 times 2, 2 times 3, and 2 times 2. And that's what we get all those numbers out there for. And that's the same thing as 25. Now notice that if I do PEMDAS instead, I do 3 plus 2, which is 5. Then I square 5. That also equals 25. So that tells me that the way that I'm doing this with the FOIL method is correct. Just so that you can kind of see that. Now, let me show you something else. Now, normally you think that, oh, I can distribute these through because we've learned that before. So I get 3 squared plus 2 squared, which is 9 plus 4, which is only 13. Notice that is not the right answer. That is not the same answer we get doing it the other two ways. So what that really tells me at this point is that tells me that we cannot do this type of shortcut. And the reason why we can't do that type of shortcut, which I've emphasized last time, was because of this plus sign that's right here. So, sorry about that. So if I have a plus sign or a minus sign, I can't do this type of shortcut. If it's multiplication or division, I can. So that's what we learned in an earlier lesson. Okay, so let's move on to a problem. So we have h plus 7 squared. So that really equals h plus 7 times h plus 7. I can FOIL those. So if I FOIL those, I get h plus 7 and h plus 7. H times h is h squared. H times 7 is 7h. H times 7 is again 7h. And 7 times 7 is 49. So we fill out all of those different pieces. Notice that we get h squared plus, then we always combine the diagonals, 14h. And remember that these two diagonals have to have the same variable. They have to be like terms, exactly like terms, meaning that the variables have to be the same, not the numbers, but the variables have to be the same. And then plus 49. So this would be my answer going this route. Now, what I want you to notice is I want you to notice that there's kind of an interesting pattern as well. And so I could not really necessarily just distribute the 2 through, but I can kind of do that. Notice I have an h squared and I have a plus 49 there. So I have h to the second power, 7 to the second power. I add them because of this plus sign. Actually, no matter what, that's going to be addition, because even if this is minus, it would be a minus times the minus, so it would go to positive. So we have h squared plus 49, but notice that I'm missing this middle term. But I want you to see what this middle term is. If I multiply these two parts together, 7 times h. So I multiply those two, and then I multiply that by 2, I get 14h. And notice that's my missing part. And then what I have to do is rewrite it in standard form. So h squared plus 14h plus 49. Now we're going to see how to do that on the next problem, just so that you can see how to do it. And it's the square of a differences. It doesn't matter. Same rules. So addition and subtraction almost always have the same rules. And then multiplication and division usually have different rules than that. So one time it's easier using addition. Sometimes it's easier using multiplication. Okay, so now in this one, we're going to do it the same way. We're going to distribute that squared through. So we have 81, which is 9 squared, right? So we get 9 squared plus negative 2y squared. Okay, so this is 9 squared, so I'll write that out because I already wrote it out there. And then negative 2y squared would be plus 4y squared. So that gives me two of my terms, but I'm missing the middle term. So to get the middle term, I multiply these two together. So see here, 9 and this negative 2 y. So I multiply 9 times negative 2y. That gives me negative 18y. And then as I said above, then we multiply that answer by 2. Doesn't matter what the answer is, we always multiply it by 2. So I get negative 36y when I multiply that. Okay, then I have to write it in the right order. So 4y squared minus 36y plus 81 gives me the answer. Now, again, we could have just gone through and done the box method, 9 minus 2y and 9 minus 2y, and figured out the same thing. Okay, so that takes care of that problem. We're going to do one more, same kind of problem here. You can see that we are first going to do 8h squared plus negative 4n squared. 8h squared is 64h squared. And then plus 4 squared is 16, 16n squared. Remember that we can distribute the power through when it is a multiplication problem. So I can distribute that power through in that problem for that reason. We're missing the middle term. We're going to multiply 8h times negative 4n. That gives me negative 32hn. And then we're going to multiply that one by 2. So I get negative 64hn. Again, you can always test this theory out, and you can go through and you can do it a different method, FOIL or the box method, and you should get the same answer as we did right here. And there's your answer. Okay, we're going to go to the next video and finish up this lesson.